Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Nicole Frolic of Inflexible Me, and today I'm going to talk about this Lionsgate portal and the big gateway coming up on the 8/8, which is the peak of the Lionsgate. Lionsgate started on July 26th, and it's taken us through till August 12th, and we've been so blessed to have eclipses during this portal, which is making this portal quite intense. And the Lionsgate in itself is a very intense gateway. It's a huge activation of energy where everything is intensified. We're hyper aware of much more that's going on around us. Our gifts are more likely to be activated during this time. And so a lot of people are experiencing a deeper connection to their higher self. And they're intuiting things with more clarity. Things are becoming more easy, I would say, than before. And so I was in meditation this morning, and I was shown about this Lionsgate portal that it's kind of like the looking glass in Alice in Wonderland. And I was shown the looking glass mirror, but we're not going into the looking glass. We're actually in the looking glass, and we've been in the looking glass for a long time, where our world has been topsy-turvy, upside down, everything's kind of crazy, everyone's mad, and the truth is inverted. So we live in this world where the truth that's being portrayed to us is really the opposite. And so what this gateway is kind of doing is it's opening up the path back home to leave the looking glass and return back to the heart, return back to 5D, which is really where our true soul resonates from the center. And so this gateway is also asking us to really go into true self-reflection. And true self-reflection is very important. So we're really understanding our shadow. And that was part of the purpose of the looking glass, is to acquaint ourselves with our shadow. And instead of pretending like the shadow is not there or trying to just create more light so the shadow disappears, we've had to get really comfortable with our shadow, and we've had to embrace the shadow, love the shadow, accept the shadow. And when we get to do that, we start to like all the things about us that we didn't like before, and all of a sudden the shadow just starts dissolving on its own because the love is coming in. And that's what's kind of been happening. So there's a lot of love energy coming through this Lionsgate portal as people are awakening. This Lionsgate is really strongly awakening people. People who haven't been awakened yet are really awakening. And when we talk about awakening, awakening is really just another word for self-awareness, and really becoming aware of what needs to change in order to be in alignment with your mission, your true essence of self, as our higher self comes in to really take over our avatars now. We're becoming more hyper aware of our gifts. We're becoming more hyper aware of the truth, not the inverted truth that we've been known to understand through this whole kind of looking glass dimension. And it's, as it affects us, it begins to affect others around us. So you're going to start seeing that as your awakening deepens, others around you who may not have been awakened are really starting to awaken, especially during this portal time. So pay attention to that, because as some of the frontline light workers here, it's our job to hold the space for that awakening. And so be there knowing that, you know, we've all been going through this, some of us for decades. And some of these people are just starting, and it's going to be freaking them out a little bit because the energy is so intense. I mean, we're all freaking out. We're all freaking out right now because our consciousness is embedded in our cells. And as this energy is coming through on this Lions portal, it is stirring up a lot of emotions because the timelines are collapsing, because we can't take all of the trauma with us to these new timelines. It has to be shed. Now, as our trauma comes in, we feel it, which means the only way to release it is we have to feel it. We have to feel it. And so A lot of emotional outbursts are happening right now. A lot of tears, a lot of body pain. The masculine are going through more of a physical experience right now. I've heard this from a lot of my male friends that they're experiencing more physical pains, and that's how it's kind of coming through right now, which makes sense. And the females, the divine feminine, they're kind of going through more of the emotional release, but both are bringing in the self-awareness. And so, like we said, there's no judgment on the path. We all have different ways of how we deal with things or the way we're supposed to experience them because it's meant for our own individual journey. But take note of this portal. It's very heightened in that you are going to notice a lot of awakened souls starting to appear around you, and that's a beautiful thing. They're going to be bringing in a lot more self-awareness into their life. They're going to need assistance and guidance in how to nurture this process. So as you've been going through this process, use your experience, your wisdom, your insight, and assist others slowly within their own time frame. Don't just dump it all on someone, you know, where they get overloaded and it reverts them back into kind of like that looking glass dimension. But really allowing them to explore their self-awareness in a very healthy way and to question. And so this portal, so what I want to talk about, when I was talking about earlier about the consciousness coming in, the reason why we can't take it with us is because the consciousness is light, and the consciousness is infiltrating our DNA. So our DNA is taking on all this light, and it has to release the old matrix patterns of behaviors and ideas and beliefs, release that all so that more of the fifth dimensional understandings and beliefs and ideas of unconditional love, oneness, wholeness starts to infiltrate our body and our cells, and we start to emanate that more so through not just through our mind and our emotions, but how we live our life. So this Lionsgate portal is really intense and it's really beautiful. So I'm just going to say, stay on the lookout for some of your friends or family, loved ones, coworkers, even just general acquaintances. Some of them might be approaching you during this portal or shortly after that are going to be asking you questions. And know that leaving the looking glass behind really is just about finding the way back to center in the heart. And that is basically the home of fifth dimension. So Lionsgate portal, lots of lion energy in that ferociousness coming through, ferociousness through our emotions, but we contain the lion through our own self-awareness, observing the shadow, loving the shadow, and allowing the shadow to just dissolve naturally through that acceptance and love. So that's kind of my message for this Lionsgate portal. And also know that because these energies are really heightened right now, and as you and everyone else begins to take on this light and anchor it into the earth, you expand your energy field, you become a stronger, you become like a stronger beacon for those who are awakening to come to you, and that will just compound this whole spreading of the light. So I think that's really fascinating and exciting to be aware of. So please leave in the comments below any of your experiences that you've been noticing through this Lionsgate portal. And if you are noticing certain people in your life starting to awaken to their own self-awareness and what they truly need right now, shedding the old things that aren't serving them and wanting to bring in the aspects that are really going to serve them to their highest good, I'd be really curious to hear about that. And if you guys need any more information about me, please head on over to my website, inflexibleme.com. I have a newsletter there that you can sign up for if you're interested. I have a podcast out in my iTunes called Enlighten Up that comes out every Thursday. We've got great guests coming on. And I had hypnosis done last week for the first time ever. And I went to some crazy places. I can't wait to share that. We're going to be actually sharing that on the podcast, hopefully by the end of this month. All of us have gone under hypnosis, and we're going to be sharing our journey of what we saw. And I'm really excited to share with you guys what happened, because it was a first for some things. And I saw a planet that I don't even know if it exists or not. So I was taken there, and it was really awesome. So I'm excited to share that with you guys soon. But I can't yet, because we've got to do the whole podcast. But anyway, that's coming. So please enjoy your Lionsgate portal. Stay very self-aware. It's very, very important right now during these times to ground yourself in your self-awareness, so that you don't get taken too far on this roller coaster ride of energy waves coming through, as we're in an energy wave right now, and there's more coming around the next eclipse in, I guess, a week, a few days, actually, just a few days. So love you all, and I will be back with you soon.